What is going on, boys and girls of YouTube? Today we're continuing this series on streaming and YouTube and just content in general. The first video is up and it was on just getting started streaming, kind of the way to look at it and what you got to do and how to go about it. So I mean, you've watched that video or you're already past that point in time, whatever it may be. You're at that point where you decided to commit to streaming or you decided to give this a shot, and I want to cover it. I want to help you guys out. I want to make sure you guys progress and improve and start out the right way. So to get started, there are really 5 direct things that you need to focus on as you start streaming. It doesn't have to be done before you stream, but while you're streaming, these are things you need to improve on and get to a point where you compete with the other compete is the word I'm using, but you're on the same level as the other people that you are streaming with or who stream the same game as you or just are streaming in general. The first thing is to be the quality of your stream. There are a lot of general settings in OBS, assuming you're using that to stream, that you can change. They're not really like that difficult. You can go on YouTube and just Google like your computer setup, which CPU you have, what graphics cards you have, and optimal OBS settings, and follow that. Big thing is your PCU preset. Test it, do practice streams, meaning turn on your stream on a second channel or something that doesn't matter. Have your friends sit in there, tell you how it looks, record the video, or go back and watch the VOD, see how it looks. The big thing is getting that CPU preset as low as your computer will allow it. Test that out, figure it out. Make sure you're streaming at 1080p, which actually doesn't allow you to output truly 1080p. It's gonna say 1080p on Twitch and all that stuff, but it's that the bitrate isn't fast enough. But you want 1080p. It does end up looking the best. A lot of big streamers stream at 900p because that's the true output. Just do 1080p. Keep it simple for yourself. Focus on that quality. Get it down. Get it right. That's the visual quality. Second thing you want to do, number 2, is the sound quality of the stream. Your audio levels, how loud your mic is outputting, how loud the game is, how loud the people you're playing with or talking to on Discord are, and also your mic. First thing is you want to be louder than everything else on your stream. Not a lot louder, but you need to be heard over the game. So you should be up here. The next thing is the people you're playing with. You do want to hear them, but if you speak, your stream should hear you. So you've got you, then the people that you're playing with, that's their volume, should be just below you. Third should be your game. Now, if you're playing a single player game, you're playing a game where the dialogue is important or the audio, the music is important, bump that up a little bit. That's perfectly fine. You can tweak that however you want depending on the game. But overall, people you're playing with, game, volume-wise. We hit on mic. Your mic is going to be something that I believe is massively important. If I come into your stream, same with the quality, the visual of the stream. If I come in and your stream looks worse than someone else's, I'm not going to give you enough time. I'm not going to watch it long enough for you to show me that you're entertaining or that your stream is good, because it just first impressions are very important. So the quality, that's why visually it needs to look good, because if I come in and it looks bad, I'm going to leave right away. I'm just going to click right off. If I come in and I hear your mic and it sounds horrible, I'm not going to stay. Most people are not going to stay. It needs to be visually appealing. It needs to make you have to feel good when you enter a stream. Your ears need to feel good. Eyes need to feel good. Everything needs to feel good. So get a decent mic. You can get an Audio Technica 2020, a USB mic if you need to. That's like the lower, that's like for the price, that's something decent. If you can afford it, drop $200 into a mic, get an AT2020 XLR, which is this kind of connection here, and get a Scarlett Solo. You get them both on Amazon, prime them. I think it's $200 total. That'll be a perfect mic setup. That's higher level than starter. That's something you could use consistently for a very long time. I recommend all my friends to it. They all have it. A lot of them that stream on their side all have it. Their mics sound really good. So I highly recommend that as a setup. This is a Shure SM7B, which is what most people use as like a high-end, like top-end mic. Once you're doing it for a living or you've made some money and you want to invest back into your stream, this is something you'd be looking at. And a Go XLR, that is the mixer that I use, especially for 2PC streaming. That's ahead of the game. That's something we'll talk about later. That's number 2. Number 3, this is a question I even had asked today. Is a camera, like me, like a camera, you being on camera, important? Honest answer, yes. It is important. It's kind of hard to explain really how it works. Obviously, if I come into a stream and I can see your facial expressions, that is very important. That is a good way to get your personality out there, to show your emotions, to let people see how you feel and react with you to the content that you're making. But on top of it, when you hear someone talking, you want to put a voice to it. Your brain tries to, put a face to the voice. That's what your brain's going to try to do. If you have a camera, then I don't have to guess and assume. And there's been circumstances and situations where people don't use cameras. Eventually their image comes out, and it's just a lot of people didn't expect that, and it's gone on so long without them showing themselves that it could have a negative reaction. Could have a good reaction, you never know. But on top of all those things, those are just getting like nitpicky. You want your stream to be visually appealing, and if you are a visually appealing person, that doesn't have to be attractive in any way. You don't have to be physically attractive to be appealing. You can be likable. If you just have if you're in general likable, or you are just clean and you're dressing, you don't have to dress up, you dress okay. It makes people more welcoming and feel like they're part of this community with you rather than with a gamer, meaning just with this guy playing video games. It's you become the brand, you become part of your content, and I think it is extremely important. Yes, you can go through and find streamers that are successful without cameras, never using cameras, but it's so rare, and you're picking off the high-end people that have found their way in there. Most people at some point stream with a camera, and it becomes a consistent, and it's just something you should become comfortable with anyway, because if you are able to grow, or if you got to start doing YouTube and stuff like that, it's a good chance you're gonna be on camera anyway. You might as well just right away get a camera. Logitech C922, I believe, if they're in stock, is what you want to grab. It's a camera. It's an $80 webcam. Works really well. Something you want to use. Top of that, quick tip. I'm going to go into like specific stuff to help you with your stream later. Make sure autofocus, if you do have that or you do use those cameras, a Logitech camera, turn off autofocus and turn off, there's a couple other settings. You're going to turn off a couple of the check settings that are preset. Just mess around with it to make sure your camera looks good. Also, lighting is going to be very important. Something else we'll talk about later. So that's number 3. Number 4 is going to be the content you're putting out. This is a huge focus. We went over like the 3 beginning things you can work on over time. This isn't something that you're going to necessarily work on. This is going to be something right out the gate that you're deciding on and you're doing. What games are you playing? What kind of content are you doing? Are you IRL streaming? Are you just chatting and hanging out with people and watching videos and doing crazy shit? Are you playing specific games? This is important. A good way to grow your stream, and what a lot of people that have made it will recommend, is be proficient in whatever your favorite game is, whatever your game is, and grow from there. Building a community based around one game is easier, and it's more likely. You establish yourself in the community, you get known, and it just builds and builds and builds and builds. If you're doing variety gaming, which is go for it, if it's what you want to do. If you just play lots of games, you aren't stuck to one game, it's not something you do, you're all over the place, it's good to right out the gate start out variety streaming, because it's a harder community to build, but once you've built it, it's there and you can do whatever you want. If you start out in a single game and you want to do variety streaming, it is a hard transition over from single game playing or just 1 or 2 game playing over into variety streaming. It is a difficult transition that a lot of people have struggled at, and it takes a whole new commitment if that's the route you go. So off the back, decide what you're gonna do. If you're gonna do variety, if you're gonna do single game. Variety means you can play a game for a couple weeks and then swap and play another game for a couple weeks, or every other day you can play a different game. It's whatever. Single game kind of means like I play Smite as my main game. It's what I've played for years and years and years. I teach the game. I do lots of content based around the game. Work with the people who make the game. Do a lot of stuff around that. So your choice. Go route A, route B, whatever you want to do. Just kind of know what you're doing, and then understand past that. Are you going to be an entertainer? Are you going to be interesting? Are you going to be fun? Or are you going to be good? Or are you going to be both? Is it a mix of everything? Try to understand the route you're headed towards. If you're going for, you want to establish yourself as a streamer because you're very good, you need to prove it. You need to grind to the top of whatever games that you are playing and show that you are one of the best, or else that is not a possible route for you to choose. And then aside from that, you've got the entertainment, which is heavy. I talked about this in the last video. It's your personality. Being entertaining, you can be funny, you could be likable, you could be good at telling stories. There's lots of ways to go about it. You could be just over the top, you could be ridiculous. There's so many ways to be entertaining, but try to realize what you're going for, what your personality brings out, what kind of person you are, and just focus around that, and it'll be a lot easier for you to generate any kind of content. Way easier for you to generate content if it's just natural for you. So that'll be number 4, all the ways you're looking at your content. Number 5, really the last one, is how long you're gonna stream and how consistent you're gonna be. You need to have a schedule. You need to stick to the schedule, whether that's 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 7 days a week. Truly, I recommend 5 to 6 days a week. I think 4 is the low end, and I think I actually kind of stream every day. I don't really recommend it. 7 is a little over the top. It can get to be too much. So I'd say somewhere 5, 6, one of those 5 or 6 days a week stream. Pick the time slots you want to stream. Most streamers either do an earlier slot like 10 a.m. Eastern to the middle of the day, or they do an evening midday stream, so like 3 p.m. until like whatever time in the night they want to go to. One mistake I see a lot of people make, especially when they start streaming, this goes with your schedule, when you start and when you finish your stream is how long you are going to stream. Do not do it to yourself where you're streaming 9, 10, 11, 12 hours. It gets to be too much. It gets to be way too much. Your emotions start to get a little wonky. Sometimes you just things aren't flowing and it builds and you'll explode on stream. And honestly, you're not growing your community by streaming that many hours during the day. It is not more optimal to stream 12 hours every single day and grow that way than it is to do 6 hours a day or 8 hours a day. My recommendation is between 5 and 8 hours a day. 8's a little extreme. 5 is right in that sweet spot. 5, 6 in that sweet spot. You will build the same following. You will get the same amount of viewership over the same amount of time doing that. You're not going to have some crazy, you're putting in more work, doing more than everybody, so everyone's going to come watch you. It's not going to happen. It's hard to maintain an entertaining stream for that period of time at that many days a week. It just doesn't happen. You have a fall off point. You will notice it as you become you do this regularly. You will realize your energy falls off, or just the vibes you're putting out fall off, or your content starts to just drift down a little bit after X amount of hours. It will become a regular thing. If you watch other streamers, you see it when it happens. You notice like, oh, getting 5 hours in the stream, he was super going crazy still. And then 7 hours of stream, he's barely even talking. It's why am I watching this? That happens. Pick an amount of days of the week, pick a duration you want your stream to be, and just stick to it. Be consistent with it. Run it like it's a job, even though maybe you're not at that point. Maybe eventually you want it to be a job. Maybe you don't. Think of it like a job. You can change up your you can call out of work, whatever you gotta do. You can call out of streaming. You can be like, I don't feel like streaming today. That happens. That's fine. Perfectly fine. But try to have that all scheduled out, have everything good to go, and just stick to it. Being consistent allows people to know when you're streaming, allows new people to come check you out because they know when you'll be live, and it just allows to generate a community of people because they know where to be, when to be, and how long they'll be there. Those are the 5 main things. One other thing I want to mention, and it goes along with the time, is other social media. Just because you're streaming, especially if you want to be successful, doesn't mean that's all you do. You need to be doing YouTube. You need to be posting on Instagram. Instagram, depending on the game, Instagram can be clips and stuff of your gameplay, but mainly it needs to be you building up your brand. And then you've got TikTok, which could be a mix of everything. You can show your personality on there. You can put game clips on there depending on the game you play, or you could just show yourself. You could just show what you're doing. Like that kind of stuff works on TikTok. People like that stuff. You need to be doing all social media though. That's why I say taking 1 or 2 days off a week is good. You can put time into those social medias on those days, or even just stream a little bit less and take an hour after your stream to do these things. You need to be hitting everything. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. Hit as much of those social medias as regularly as possible, because growing on Twitch it's not just it's not just one path. There isn't one straight path to do it. Everything feeds into everything. Twitch feeds into YouTube. YouTube feeds into Twitch. Instagram feeds into everything. A little bit less on Instagram. TikTok definitely feeds into YouTube and into Twitch. Those things need to be hit. If you want to be successful and you want to rise and you want to show that you're putting in the work and you want to get the most content out of yourself, you need to hit everything 100%. So those are the 5 essential things to be doing while growing your stream, and things to focus on while growing your stream, with the social media being a huge input that maybe we should have had as number 6. I don't know. Hopefully this video helps you guys. Let me know in the comments. Please like the video if you want me to do more of this. I'll keep the series going. It's super easy for me because I'm just sharing information I've learned over the years. I hope you like it. In the video later today or tomorrow, whenever it is.